The Cheeseboy 628 Show, starring Cheeseboy 628.
Hey YouTube, what's going on? This is Cheeseboy628 here today, giving you an OU tier Pokemon Showdown battle. And this is one of my classic Sun teams I just love using. I'm sorry if it seems like it's getting overused, but I just really loved using these teams and I only picked out the best battles. But a lot of you guys have been submitting teams to me and I'm definitely going to be using those very soon. Anyway, my team here is Specs Ninetales, Life Orb Mamoswine, Support Fortress, Life Orb Venusaur, Sash Dugtrio, and Calm Mind fully physically defensive Latias. Now looking at my opponent's team, I'm in for a nightmare. This has to be one of the stalliest teams I've ever seen. I'm just looking at, I'm having trouble from every end of the spectrum. The weather, the stall, he just has something for everything. I want to get Venusaur to have a late game sweep. In order to do that, number one, I'm going to have to disable Hippowdon so I can have my weather up so I can actually abuse the chlorophyll. Two, I'm going to have to take out Heatran with Dugtrio, hopefully, because it walls my entire set. And finally, I'm probably going to have to take out Dragonite as well, as that thing is ridiculously bulky. From there, I should be alright, but this is going to be very difficult. Let's see how this battle goes. So I'm going to start with my Latias just cause maybe I can get up some Calm Mind so he doesn't carry the Whirlwind and just do a lot of damage to that Hippowdon really. So I'm probably going to go for the Dragon Pulse next turn. I might as well just to scout out, see how much damage it does. It does a ton of damage. That thing is definitely fully physically defensive. The problem is it Whirlwinds me into my Dugtrio and I lose it because I'm weak sauce and that's really unfortunate. And he's definitely going to switch out as I bring in my Latias now, and I'm just going to go for the D-Pulse, see how much damage I can do. It's probably going to kill from that range. He probably knows that his weather is important to keep my Venusaur from sweeping, so that is why he's keeping it in the wings. And so I bring in my Latias, I'm going to try going for the D-Pulse to take out the Hippowdon, but he does have the Heatran on a balloon, so that tells me it seems to be more offensive, but then he carries the Roar, so that's kind of weird. Nonetheless, he roars me into my fortress and I'm definitely not staying in. He goes for the Fire Blast here, doesn't really matter, would have just recovered it off anyway, as I'm going to do this turn. And then maybe, just maybe I could set up some Calm Minds, but no, he's going to roar me. And unfortunately, this is not my mixed Venusaur that carries the EQ, so I'm going to have to switch out. I'm going to go back into my Latias, as you can see here, it does a decent chunk, but not even a quarter. And so I'm going to be able to recover stall if I do feel like it, but I go for the Psyshock, get a crit here, so he's at about half health. That's nice to wear this thing down. Now my Fortress comes back in, and I'm just trying to find a way that I can safely bring in Mamo so I can threaten him out, but then he also has Skarmory and just counters. This is very frustrating. Now I'm just going to go for the recover because I need some HP if I want Latias to do anything. He brings in Skarmory, and this team is just so very annoying. He goes for the Brave Bird, which is huge right now because my Ninetales does not have Lefty's recovery, so I am in a pickle, especially since I go for the Fire Blast thinking maybe he'll overpredict or maybe he's a Custap set, I don't know, but this is not looking good for me right now. My Ninetales is very weak. He still has his Jellicent in full health, and I'm just going to have a lot of trouble spinning away these hazards. So I'm going to set up a Calm Mind here with Latias. I'm like, that's it. I've got to start doing some damage. I'll just go for the Dragon Pulse, see how much it does. It does about half, which is nice, but then he goes for the Whirlwind and drags out my Fortress. Now, the Rapid Spin is optimal, but I do know that his Jellicent is still very optimal to go into right now. So I'm just going to set up my rocks, and I can set up as many hazards as I want while he's in. So he gets the Will-O-Wisp on me, not a huge deal, but now he goes for the Taunt, and so I'm in a huge pickle right now. I can't set up hazards, I can't spin, I've got to switch out. So I'm going to go to my Latias, which eats up that Surf for breakfast like no other, and then I have a free chance to go for the recover. He goes for the Taunt here, and this pretty much just disables my Latias since I only have dual stab from there, which Jellicent can probably take pretty well. Now I bring in my Venusaur, and I could go for the Giga Drain if I do feel so, and he does have his Roserade, so that's why I go for the Sludge Bomb. He probably should have brought in his Heatran, although the hazards are withering him down, so that's probably why he did such. So I go for the Sludge Bomb again, and this Roserade goes down, which is kind of nice because that is the first poke on his team finally taken out. Now he brings in his Heatran, and my Latias walls it for days. He ends up going for the Earth Power. Even if he went for the Fire Blast, it wouldn't have done too much as I could have just recovered it off. but it would have done a decent chunk in the sun, maybe like a third or so. Now here I predicted him to switch out, maybe keep his Heatran for fodder, but no, he decides to keep it in just to die from a Mammo's EQ potentially. But no, I finally take out the Heatran though, which is great because now Venusaur has a great chance of sweeping, except for Rock Syrup, and he's burned, and I have Life Orb, and this is not going well at all. But this is basically the situation that will make or break this game. I have to face this D-Knight, and I need to figure out how to take it out. I didn't have a chance to spin, so now my Ninetales goes down and my weather will be gone as soon as he brings in his Apollodon, which is not good, so Venusaur cannot sweep as it wished. I go for the Stone Edge here, which almost takes out that Skarmory, which is great, and then I'm going to go for the Superpower to make sure I don't miss and make sure I kill in case Ice Shard wouldn't. I don't know, I'm just being very cautious right now. He brings in his Jellicent, and I'm at -1 attack, so I don't want to stay in. And my Latias can easily come and wall this Jellicent for days, except for he has the taunt, and if he doesn't let me recover, I'm not going to have a good time, and I don't have a good time, so this is a problem, and I don't know if I should switch out or just go for the Psyshock. I don't know. I probably ended up going for the Psyshock there, but unfortunately I won't be able to see how much damage it would have done. So I'm going to go for the D-Pulse here, and it does a decent amount of damage. If I set up some Calm Minds, I should be fine, but I get paralyzed here, so I don't even know what I went for, and he can Dragon Tail me out. But he still has that Jellicent in the wings, so I don't know if he's going to go out to it. Turns out he just goes for the Substitute. I just lay up a layer of spikes in case he wanted to switch out, but instead he just sets up a Substitute. And I'm thinking he's probably just going to start setting up on me so I can go for the Rapid Spin, and now the rocks are finally gone, which is great and all, except it's probably not going to help too much. I'm just going to go for the Gyro Ball here, see if I can break his sub eventually and have a chance to start doing a ton of damage with possibly Mammo. Not entirely sure. If only I have an Icicle Spear on it. Icicle Spear on Mammo is a great idea, let me tell you that right now. Going for the Gyro Ball, I'm burned. I'm just doing nothing to this D-Knight. It is simply too bulky. He brings out my Venusaur. I have one hit left, and I go for the Sludge Bomb, and he goes for the Substitute, being the most optimal play, of course. Now I'm going to bring in my Latias again, and I just need to figure out how am I going to take this thing out. Since he went last, that is because he went for the Dragon Tail because of that minus priority, and I just wanted good health there. Unfortunately, the Dragon Tail did do a decent amount of damage, so the recovery didn't help too much, but I still did get a bit of health back. Now my Fortress is basically dead. I go for the Gyro Ball and I get the crit, and this is actually pretty darn huge because now I can go for the Ice Shard with that D-Knight being fully open to taking a ×4 super effective stab Ice Shard from my Mammo with Life Orb boost, of course. And just with base 130 attack, it's too powerful. Now he Dragon Tails again here. I'm thinking he's probably going to sub down or roost. Turns out he just goes for the Dragon Tail and now can freely go for the Ice Shard and take out that D-Knight. But it turns out he actually brings in a Powdon, and since hazards are simply too much, he doesn't even get his weather up for the rest of the game. Now his only hope here is that Jellicent can take an EQ, and I say no sir, and unless he has the E-Speed here, he is done, and it turns out he just forfeits, so he didn't have it. So that was a fantastic match, if I do say so myself, and thank you all for watching. Like, comment, sub, and until later, peace.